Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's dustinkreis, and today we are going to do a game discussion. And we're going to talk about this game right here, Valkyria Chronicles, for the PlayStation 3, brought to us by Sega, of all people. And I just finished this game, not even like 10 minutes ago. And it is one of the best experiences I have ever had with a video game. From the word go, this game has just completely enraptured me. The world, the characters, the gameplay, the graphics, the music, everything about this game has just completely blown me away. And it's kind of a sad story because I'm kind of mad at myself about this game as well. Because one, I let it sit on GameStop's shelf for so long before I picked it up. I was just waiting for the price to keep dropping and dropping, and finally got around the $24 mark, and I said, screw it, I have to get it. And then I let it sit on my shelf for a long time, and you know, now that I've beat it, I was like, God, what was I waiting for? And I don't remember what the initial push was to start playing the game. I know it finally pushed me over the edge. And that was a video by Accent on Gamers, Senkai and Mario. If you haven't checked out their channel, there's going to be a link down below because these guys are fantastic. Their channel's fantastic. They're up and coming. If you guys are looking for a very high quality YouTube channel out there to watch, check these guys out. They did a video on the entire series, and I was just like, God damn it, I have to throw this game in now. And yeah, I love this game so much that I went out and got Valkyria Chronicles 2. Actually, I think I got Valkyria Chronicles 2 before I got Valkyria Chronicles 1, because I knew I was going to get it eventually, and it was like $11. But I went out and downloaded the ISO of Valkyria Chronicles 3 and did the whole patching process. Tried to, anyway. That was a horrible, horrible experience. Like, the patcher just wouldn't work for me. So, Alex, Return to Mother Base, he sent me the patched ISO. And now I have it on my PSP completely ready to go whenever I get to it. And that's kind of the weird thing, because this game, I just finished it right now. And I want to grab my PSP, I want to grab Valkyria 2, and I want to go at it. Like, that's how much I adore this game. I just want to plow through the series and experience everything in these games. But the sad part is the company, or I should say the developers that made this game, which I believe was Sega Overworks, they are no longer around. So I doubt very highly we're ever going to get a Valkyria 4. If we do, I'm all for it. I'm there day one. Hopefully they bring it out over here, but you know, I guess we'll see if there even is another one. But so there's only 3 Valkyria Chronicles games, and I kind of want to make them last. So I'm going to put some time, you know, put some time away before I go back to Valkyria 2. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it and talk about this game, because I don't know. There was just everything about this game just completely just made me so giddy to play. I'm a huge World War II, I don't want to say fan, because it's kind of weird saying that you're a fan of a war, but I love to read about World War II and, you know, the battles and all this stuff. And this game is essentially kind of an alternate World War II. You play as Welkin Gunther. Yeah. Yeah, that's how you say his name. And you've just come home to your home country of Gallia. And Gallia is kind of like an independent nation in between these 2 major superpowers. One, you know, you never really get to see much of the Federation. And they allude to the fact that the Federation is just as corrupt as the Empire. But the Empire is based on Nazi Germany. And, you know, these 2 powers are fighting each other. Gallia is kind of caught in the middle. And it's up to Welkin and this ragtag group of militiamen to basically fight off this major, major superpower. And you meet so many amazing characters in this game. I'm still thinking about characters from this game, you know. from Rosie overcoming her hatred of Darksons, which we'll talk about Darksons in a minute. Largo and his sort of hidden love for another character. The budding romance between Welkin and Alicia, and then all this other stuff. The backstory of like Europa War One, and the whole Valkyria War and things like that. There's a lot of lore and sort of history in this game that I really enjoyed and really want to get more into. The storyline goes to some incredibly dark places. Not so much. It's not so much like in your face with it. But if you know about what happened during World War II, there's a lot of allusions to what happened, especially with what I said, the Darksons. They are basically the proxies for the Jews in this game. And yes, there is a Holocaust in Valkyria Chronicles. And I was just surprised at kind of how far this game goes, because it's very bright, it's very colorful. And the graphical style, which we'll talk about a little bit later, it doesn't really make you think it's going to go there. But this is actually a very mature storyline about the costs of war and sort of the evil of racism and things like that. It's just very surprising how deep this story went in this game. But even above the storyline, you really do care about these characters. In most strategy RPGs, I feel anyway that a lot of times sort of there's so many characters because you have a big army that characters maybe aren't developed as well as they are. This one really kind of focuses in on the leaders of Squad 7 and the Gallia militia. And all these characters you really just start to kind of get a feeling for. And so much so that sort of in the midpoint of the game, a major event kind of happens, and you're just, I was really taken aback. I was just like, God damn it, I was very upset about the twist of the storyline. But it really propels another character forward. And when you get to the end credits and you see sort of what everyone did after the war, it sort of brings a very big smile to your face to find out, how much this specific character has changed, and what the events of the war meant to her and things like that. It's just a really fantastic story. I can't speak highly enough about the story in Valkyria Chronicles. The gameplay. This is a strategy RPG, but it's a weird strategy RPG. It kind of tricks you into thinking you're playing an action game. So, for all you people out there who have never actually tried a strategy RPG, this is one right up there with Fire Emblem Awakening that, you should try, because if you don't like the sort of tactics, slow, turn-based thing, running around in action mode in this really makes you feel like you're playing a third-person shooter. I guess I should talk about that a little bit. You start off every battle as sort of a bird's-eye view of a map with all your characters represented by little emblems strewn across the map. And as you select each emblem that represents a character, it drops down to ground level, and you control this character moving through the battlefield in a third-person perspective. Really awesome. It's just so much fun, sending scouts ahead and exploring the map. And you turn a corner, you're like, oh shit, there's a tank, Then you have to bring your lancers forward. Which I should talk about the units as well. You have scouts, which in the beginning of the game are kind of weak, but they have the ability to just kind of basically move across the entire map, as you level these characters up, which they level up by class, not by individual characters, so that's great. That should be put in more strategy RPGs. I absolutely love that. That the each entire class levels up together. That's fantastic. But as you level up the scouts, you really start to figure out that the scouts are your most powerful unit in the game. Specifically Alicia. Mario and Senkai kind of talked about how they just plow through the levels with Alicia, and in a lot of ways that's true. Like, once you start getting those scouts up to decent levels, and you learn how to use them better, they're pretty unless you make a mistake in placing them on the map, or the enemy gets really lucky, they're pretty invincible, it feels like. You have the shock troopers, which deal heavy combat damage with their machine guns, but they don't have much movement. They're much more armored than the scouts as well. Scouts are very lightly armored, so when they get hit, they get hit hard. You have the lancers, which are basically anti-tank units. They carry around bazookas. They're very armored. If you step on a mine with them, it's not even going to touch them. But they're very slow to move around. Engineers, which are a very important unit in this game, and it took me about like the midpoint to realize how important they are. These are the guys that repair your tanks, and if your main tank, the Edelweiss, which has Welkin in it, gets destroyed, it's game over and you start over again. So having an engineer out there is really useful. They also replenish your team's ammunition. And that was a lifesaver so many times. Just to run an engineer up there and reload all my lancers and then take out a tank. That was amazing. The third thing they do, they can also disarm traps, mines, and things like that. So if you run into a minefield and your tank's not close enough to sort of run over the anti-personnel mines and get rid of them, you can run an engineer through there and quickly disarm all the landmines that are blocking your way. And then, of course, you have a sniper, which everyone knows what a sniper is. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can approach these battles. Having a lot of scouts out there is, a pretty good plan. And the thing of it is, like, a lot of times, you have a certain amount of units you can put out on the field, like 10. And a lot of times you don't want to put out a full roster of 10, because as you move through the stages and you liberate enemy camps, you can then use these enemy camps to bring in new units right there in the middle of the map. So you don't have to start them all the way from the beginning and run them forward. So using scouts to liberate camps and moving your units forward by having them retreat from old camps and then moving them to new camps, it really helps you move through the maps pretty quickly. This is actually a pretty quick strategy RPG. There is some slowdowns with like enemy turns. Enemies sometimes they'll have like a shock trooper just run around and do nothing. And you're like, what's this guy doing? He just runs behind cover, runs out, and runs back to behind cover. There's a few times in the stage I'm like, the AI is just going crazy. And there's no way to speed up the cutscenes or the enemy turns. So you have to sit there and watch the enemy turns. If you reload the battle, you have to watch the pre-game cutscenes again. So there is some slowdown, but once you get into the battles and start moving forward, the battles go really quickly. I was actually very surprised at how quickly some of these battles went. Other than that, I mean, you get experience points for how you do in the battles. If you do them under a certain amount of turns, usually it's about 8, you can get an A rank, which gets you massive amounts of experience and money to spend on new weapons, leveling up the classes, arming your tanks. It's a really awesome gameplay system, and I can't wait to play the other games in the series and just see them refine this even further. But like I said, for all you people out there who just do not like strategy RPGs, give this one a shot, because it tricks you. You don't think you're playing a tactical RPG. You think you're playing a third-person shooter a lot of the times. And the whole battle system, how it just feels so action-oriented, was really refreshing to me. I really just dug everything about the battle system. The graphics are absolutely gorgeous. This is a 6-year-old game, and because it uses cel shading and kind of makes it look watercolor-esque, the graphics just look phenomenal. And this is only running in 720p. So it's not even, 1080. And I'm just sitting there looking at this and I'm like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. More games should really use the cel shading. I know it was kind of a big fad there for a while, but in terms of like 3D models, I think the cel shading really lives up more, or holds up more, I should say, than these very detailed 3D models. There's just something about the perfection of looking like a cartoon that really works well. I mean, Dragon Quest VIII on the PlayStation 2 to this day still looks gorgeous. And there's not a lot of PlayStation 2 games that have aged very well, you know, especially now that we're in the PS4 era. But Dragon Quest VIII looks amazing. So I really dug the graphical style. The music in some respects reminded me of like Saving Private Ryan. In some respects, it reminded me of Oblivion and Skyrim for some reason. But everything about it is, you know, very, very good. The military marches, of course. It still has a Japanese flair to it. The audio, just the voice acting alone, is amazing in this as well. Really well done. A lot of the more how do I put it? A lot of the more emotional parts of the story are really sold through the voice acting. Really, really good stuff. So yeah, guys. I don't know what else to say. This has basically just been me orgasming over Valkyria Chronicles, but this is easily one of the best experiences I've ever had in gaming. I can't wait to play the other games in the series. This will definitely be one that in a few years I'm going to go back to and play the New Game Plus, because I just want to go through all these stages now with powered up people and just completely decimate the Imperial army. But yeah, don't be like me. Don't wait. Just go out and get it. It's really an amazing game. So I wish I would have played it. I wish I would have got it when it first came out, because this would have been something that I would just ate up, you know, what, 6 years ago, back in the day. It'd been awesome. But anyway, that is Valkyria Chronicles. Now I'm going to go, I just got done killing some proxy Nazis, and now I'm going to go get ready to kill some real ones in Wolfenstein. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.